as we said in the previous video, human trafficking is also called modern-day slavery. Trafficking means that something is being illegally traded or illegally bought and sold. The federal and state definition of human trafficking is recruiting, harboring, moving, or obtaining a person by force, fraud, or coercion for the purpose of involuntary servitude, debt bondage, slavery, or the sex trade. So what does this mean? Well, force isn't hard to imagine. It's physical. It's abuse, being tied up, or rape. Fraud isn't hard to think of either. It's lying. You want a job as a waiter? Okay. But then when you get to the job, it's not waiting tables. It's working in slave-like conditions with abuse, neglect, no pay, and harmful surroundings. Coercion, however, was kind of a weird concept to me at first. Think of it as like an axe hanging over your head. Nothing is wrong yet, but you are terrified that something could go wrong in the next second. Coercion is blackmail or threats to you or to your family. There are two major types of human trafficking. There's sex trafficking, which is also known as the sex trade or forced prostitution. And then there's labor trafficking, which is also known as involuntary servitude or debt bondage. So, human trafficking means that if you buy, sell, move, or hold a human using force, fraud, or coercion because you want to put them in slave-like circumstances, you are a trafficker. Today, human trafficking has been reported and discovered in over 184 countries, including America, and that's why we're talking to you. Many people don't know the full story of human trafficking or modern-day slavery, but perhaps you've seen the movie Taken. In that movie, the main character is taken and sex trafficked in France. Although the film highlights human trafficking, it doesn't really capture the full story. So I wanted to clarify some misconceptions about human trafficking. Human trafficking does not mean smuggling. Smuggling means that you have to cross a border and that you have to be moved. Trafficking means that you are sold. You do not need to be transported anywhere. Some are sold out of their own homes, and we're going to have a look at one such case. Human trafficking is not limited to foreign nationals. U.S. citizens have and continue to be trafficked here in America. That means that it does occur within U.S. borders, and it is not just an immigration issue. Victims will not self-identify usually. Just as you're currently learning about what human trafficking is, so are they. They understand that they're in an awful situation, but they don't know what it's called and they don't know who to contact or where to get help. They are also so abused mentally that they don't want to think of themselves as victims. We'll look more into this later. Victims can come from all backgrounds and situations. Men and women, adults and children, American citizens and foreigners, well-educated and not well-educated, wealthy and unwealthy. There is not just one kind. There are multiple kinds of human trafficking, and we will look at those next. The U.S. is a destination, transit, and a source country. This means that victims of human trafficking are being brought to the U.S., taken out of the U.S., and being trafficked within the U.S. According to the U.S. Department of State's Trafficking in Person report in 2012, there are 27 million men, women, and children that are victims of human trafficking today. Remember when you studied the slave trade in history? Both of these numbers are more than during that transatlantic slave trade or during any point in history. Think about how many people go to your school. In my high school, it was about 1,700. That means that there are over 15,000 people in slavery today for every one student that I see walking around. Isn't that crazy? To discuss myths and misconceptions more, you can pause this video and participate in the guided discussion.